Hey guys, it's Emily. So today I thought I'd film a video about what studying psychology is really like, as I just finished first year in Dublin City University and it's completely different to what I thought it would be, and I thought it would be a really good video to film as it's quite a popular area that people go into, and people kind of have this perception about what psychology is, but it's completely different to what I thought it would be. So let's get into the video. Not like what you see on TV. I know a lot of people watch shows like Criminal Minds, CSI and shows like that, but it's actually, that's not what all psychology is about. There's a lot of other areas and domains that you can go into, and it's just not all about profiling. People kind of forget that there's actually way more to it. For example, I studied perception in first year, and it's basically how we perceive things, how we see things, how we hear things, how we smell things, and the reasons behind them. And it was a really interesting subject. It was very difficult, but that's one of the areas that you wouldn't think of in psychology. My second point is that it's hard to get into for a reason. Definitely in Ireland, it's like 500 points and above, which is very high. Sometimes my course was 515, I believe, and Trinity it's like 565. And if you're not from Ireland, that's like, you need to do well in your exams. Psychology is very difficult. You kind of need not to be smart, but you need to be able to really get your thoughts together and be able to just work your way through things, because often, especially at the first couple of weeks, lecturers don't really kind of, baby you and tell you what to do, and you're gonna have to figure out things yourself. But especially in psychology, writing assignments on something that you've only kind of glanced at and you don't really know much about, it's very difficult. But psychology is a very difficult domain in the first place, and the language is very difficult, especially when you're reading articles. Like, I literally had to Google every second word for the first couple of weeks of. It's very hard to prove anything in psychology, which I didn't really think about. This really surprised me. There's no very yes or no answer in psychology, and often if something is supported by experiment, there will always be an experiment to unsupport it. In psychology, the aim isn't really to say this is that, it's just to say this is the best treatment for this, this works the best, which is frustrating because of course we want to find, in terms of mental illness, we want to find treatments and cures and all of that, but you can't really do that in psychology because psychology is so complex, human brain is so complex, there's no one solution to anything. I kind of knew this going in. Everybody always says it to me when I say I do psychology. They're like, oh, it's so interesting, like it must be so good, like it must be so interesting, and it is, and actually exceeds your expectations sometimes, especially in child psychology, which I did. And I kind of live for the lectures where my lecturers say something, especially in social psychology. Is so fascinating. It's so, it's full of common sense, but it's things that you wouldn't think about. It's such a rich subject. Another point is that it's such a wide area to get into. There's so much choice. There's so many areas. There's health psychology, social, child, military, everything. Like, you can go into any kind of career you want to. You can be in an office, you can do your own private work. You really need to be patient as well. It takes a long time to become a fully qualified psychologist. If you want to do a PhD, if you want to do a master's, and if you want to specialise as well. Like, I calculated what I want to do career-wise. I want to go into forensic psychology, by the way, but I will be 32 minimum by the time I'm finished, and I'm nearly 20. So it's going to take me 12 years to become a fully qualified doctor, in psychology, and a lot of money as well, but I think it's going to be worth it because I'm so interested in this area. It's what I've wanted to do for ages, and I worked so hard to get into it. And yeah, I'm just really happy with my course, but you kind of need to know and be prepared that it takes a lot of time and a lot of work to become a qualified psychologist. And also, even in terms when you are working, it takes a lot of time to do experiments, it takes a lot of time to come up with experiments, and from start to finish, like coming up with the idea and you need permission, you need to make sure it's ethical and you're not breaching any of the rules, and obviously you want it to be a good experiment, so you have to put a lot of time to thinking about it and making sure there's no flaws in it, because in psychology there can be a lot of flaws in the experiments. It's going to take you a couple of years to do one experiment, like if you're going to do it properly. Another point I would say, which I actually noticed this when I was sitting in one of our lectures, Introduction to Psychology, and we were in with non-psychology students, just I think it was sports science or something, and they were sitting in on our lectures, and one of our lecturers showed a brief clip of people with schizophrenia, and you could tell that just they weren't interested in psychology or whatsoever, but they were laughing at the person, and this person was saying, I think it was something like, oh, that people are out to kill me, you know. And because I'm interested in psychology, obviously I'm very empathetic with people with mental illnesses, and it was just shocking, and people were laughing at them, and they just didn't realise that people actually deal with this stuff every day, and what they were saying they 100% felt was real, and it's just really upsetting. So you need to be very empathetic with people, you need to be able to put yourself in other people's shoes, and you kind of need to have that viewpoint on people with psychological problems. Like, you can't think it's a joke and stuff, and I know if you're interested in psychology, like, you probably won't be anyway, but it's just another point to keep in mind. Anyway, so that's it for today's video. I hope you really liked it, and if you want any more videos to do with psychology, then give this video a thumbs up, and see you guys next time. Bye.